Hi, I'm Ayushi, a global brand marketer and a content creator. Welcome to the Note to Self podcast. This podcast is all about helping you find and love your true self in order to grow to your fullest potential unapologetically. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 of Note to Self, and thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host Ayushi, and today we'll be talking about change, embracing it and evolving with it. Since this is the first episode of Note to Self, I'll tell you a little about me. I am young, I am in my 20s, but in my life, the circumstances I've gone through have taught me a thing or two about self-love, confidence, and faith in oneself. That is exactly what I want to be sharing with you on this podcast channel. So you and I can look into the mirror and see a strong, determined, compassionate individual capable of achieving everything. So once again, welcome to episode 1. Let's talk about change. I'm sure you must have heard these lines multiple times in your life. Change is inevitable. Change is the only constant. And in all its ways, this is absolutely true. What's also true is that change never feels natural or easy. If this year has taught us one thing, it is that certain things are beyond our control and things are meant to change. Until February 2020, I was all set to travel the world. I had plans to at least travel twice every month. I had already bought a lot of equipment, done all my research, and planned all my agency work in a way that allows me to travel more often. But March must have been one such month that changed all our lives, didn't it? Suddenly, nothing made sense. Nobody could do what they were used to. And just like everybody else, it was a very difficult time for me as well. I spent the first couple of months being lazy with no clear goals, no direction, no positivity, but just uncertainty. It took a while and a lot of little changes to turn that around, to turn that mindset around to where I am today. And I feel like a complete 180-degree shift has happened. I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm more productive than I've ever been. Even though I feel like a reformed person today, none of these changes happened overnight. It's not a fairy tale. Life is not a fairy tale. Nobody will say one fine day everything changed for the princess. That definitely did not happen with me. Everything that I accomplished in the last few months, everything that changed in my life, or everything that I feel today has been a set of little decisions that I took over time, over the months, to be where I am today, to be in a happy state. Now, through all these little changes, there are a few solid lessons that I learned, which I'd love to share with you today. One thing, though, that I want you to keep in mind before we get into the takeaways of this episode, I want you to know that embracing change and evolving with it is essential for us to grow as individuals and become better people in all aspects of our lives. So once you accept and embrace change, I'm sure everything I'm going to tell you now is going to really make sense. So let's get into the 4 key takeaways that I have for you today. Number 1, accepting change encourages development. What does this actually mean? Now, because we repel change and want to stay in our familiar comfort zones all our lives, most of us end up going through life without ever living up to our full potential. All around us, there's a change happening. There's change everywhere we see, every day. Then what about it is so intimidating? We need to embrace and accept change, let it work for us in our favor, and that way we can lead happier lives and truly undergo the process of growth. Number 2, we can make the change happen. We need to analyze our lives and find the negatives. The sooner we become aware of things that don't ultimately work for us or work in our benefit, the better we can work towards making the change ourselves. So the focus here is that we don't have to wait for the change to happen to us. We can make it happen. We just need to step back, analyze our lives, and change what is not working for us. Moving on to number 3, we need to make change while we can before the changes make us. It is so much better to initiate change ourselves instead of being a passive spectator in our own lives caught up in a whirlpool of changes. Our attitude towards life is affected by our ability to embrace change. We need to embrace change with a calm and relaxed mind and know where we are going exactly and what we are setting out to accomplish. So again, this point really focuses on the fact that we don't need to be passive in our own lives. We can make the changes happen. We can take control of what is going to happen in our lives if we move in with a direction, with a plan. Now to the fourth and my favorite point of today. Self-loathing and self-pity are counterproductive. Feeling bad for oneself, feeling bad for ourselves will often lead us down a negative path. It is counterproductive to the changes that we have been working on. It is counterproductive to our growth and it will keep us stagnant. So instead, it is time to stop blaming the circumstances. It is time to set clear objectives, guidelines, and goals for ourselves and strive hard to achieve those. Now, I completely understand and I know that uncertainty that accompanies change can cause fear and insecurities. However, this is the time to channel all that negativity in our life, all those negative emotions, and direct them towards action. Nothing will be fruitful if we keep brewing in our own fears and insecurities. It is time to embrace change and march ahead with as much control as possible. So yes, that brings us to the end of episode 1. I really hope that this creates a dialogue in your mind. I really hope you take away something important from this podcast or from this episode that will actually help you change your life for good. I really hope this was useful and helpful for you. Thank you so much once again for tuning in today. And you can go ahead and tell your friends about this podcast and stay tuned because there's a lot more coming. Look out for new episodes. Look out for more episodes every week. I hope you have a great day ahead and great week ahead. Thank you so much once again for listening to Note to Self.